Morning, officer.
Maybe this is the pot calling the kettle black. This guy thinks he's a genius and he's a moron.
Good news, everyone.
Y2K! Y2K! Oh no! Think of like the dumbest cave troll let you know.
You looked right at me when you said that.
You're not the dumbest.
Here are the facts as I see them.
Dude, what's up? Welcome everybody, Bandit Radio Hour 2024, Year of Revelations. Let's see how it goes down.
Or revolutions.
Or why not both? Anyways, guys, welcome back. We took a hiatus. It was holidays. And something I've noticed about us in the past, it seems
Holidays are less enjoyable the older you get.
I mean, I wasn't going down that route, but we're there now. I don't know. I got children, so they're kind of sweet to me. You, on the other hand,
They at least get to experience the magic.
Yeah, that, and you stress yourself out to the gills just to try to make it work for them, and they tend to like it. I got to shoot guns with my son and my daughter. That was fun. That was
America.
Yes, it was the most American sport ever. So that was cool. But no, something I noticed, like all of our episodes that we've recorded, like the last 4. I don't notice it till after we're done recording and I leave. I'm like, oh, we're right by a major holiday, and we didn't say anything about it. Like, it might have been after the fact, but not beforehand.
Yeah, because then we got the other one out before Christmas.
Yeah.
And then, happy late January 6th.
I knew I was forgetting something. Yeah, and let me for the record, this is nice, spicy one to jump off on. What do you remember about January 7th? Where were you?
Oh, it was a fairy tale. It was better than Christmas.
I
was on the way home and I heard it on the radio. And I remember I went to YouTube and saw some random streamer covered it, and I was like, oh, it's happening. It's finally happening. And then I realized it's just the biggest letdown.
And I've seen, I'm gonna really try to be fair about this. I have seen the video evidence, I'll say, from the more liberal or progressive point of view, that does tend to correlate with some, you see some stuff of the outside and people were going crazy or whatever. There was that, but it's there was also old ladies that were walking around that.
That's what I remember seeing. I just remember seeing people walking between the velvet ropes in an orderly fashion, and that's the most I saw. And I was like, so I still don't understand what happened, because you see some stuff that seems bad, and then you see other sides from the other angle, and it doesn't seem bad. So I don't know. It's
one of my favorite memories, because it's while I was leaving work, and I was I worked 30, 40 minutes away, and I was talking to this chick. She was directing plays in Sarasota at one of the theaters. Not direct, she's producing. She was producing. Anyways, she called me up, and she said, Josh, you're not going to believe this. There's an insurrection. She's like, well, are you? She asked me, are you near a TV or a radio or anything? I'm like, I'm listening to nerdy stuff on YouTube on the way home. What are you talking about? She goes, turn it on the news. There's an insurrection happening at the White House. And
quoted the exact thing the news was saying.
And I go, I will call you back. And I had 15 more minutes of driving. And what I picture in my head is couple of Humvees and half tracks pulled up on the White House lawn, and there's fire on the Capitol, literal fire, burning the building, and there's some dudes in masks with politicians on their knees going these are the new Constitution of the United States, and I don't even fully support all of that stuff particularly by any means, some dude establishing their new government over me or anything like that. But I'm that's what I'm picturing in my head.
That's what I did too when I saw the YouTube video, or the guy talking about it. The first thing I saw was the video where the people trying to climb the outside wall.
That's what I saw.
And I was like, oh my gosh, he's really happy.
Yeah.
They're really trying to overthrow the government here.
Yeah.
And then the more that it played, I was like, oh, this is just nothing.
See, I got home a little late that day, probably found at 5 or 6 o'clock, and so when I got home, the first image I saw on a television was Buffalo Hat Shaman in war paint going, with the Wookiee yell in the House.
I remember seeing him,
or the Senate floor.
I remember seeing him and just being that's a weird dude. He just looks so out of place.
And I saw it, and I like I said, in my mind, I'm picturing something out of a G.I. Joe cartoon, like I said, perfectly. And I'm seeing this, and I'm like, well, is it tribal people that have taken over? Like, are things a lot weirder than I thought they were? Yeah. And then I start like looking, I'm like,
the Comanche have come back.
And like, don't get me wrong, like I think most of what I'm watching at the time is Fox News, just because that's like the given news source in the house. But like, I am seeing a mix, like what you said. Like, I'm seeing a mix of like, you know, I know one. I don't super know because I haven't like looked into it recently, and it wasn't. But like, I believe there was like one, maybe two cops that died, and they say like the seems like the left wing reporters say he was killed by the mob. It seems like the right wing reporters say he was killed by a heart attack, and I'm like, if he got a heart attack because a mob is coming upon him, like that's still kind of the mob. But it's like given.
And then they're like, well, they broke in, but then you see the videos where they let them in. I just feel like it was just mass confusion all the way around.
And, you know me, I like some things that Trump does, but I'm not a Trump supporter by any stretch of the imagination. But it's like, as much I hate the media so much infinitely more. Like, both sides of the media and how I do believe there is like some form of like keeping people distracted with little, like really smaller things.
Right.
And January 6th, I think it was a big thing. But like when you hear the media like compare it like Pearl Harbor or 9/11 or whatever, and it's like the amount of deaths that happened there.
I think they make a big deal out of it because, like you said, like for that brief instant, the government or Congress lost a little bit of control.
Yeah.
And they freaked and they panicked.
Yeah. And like, I don't see how these people had any real chance at flipping the government. And that's why
I don't think they had a plan. I don't think there was a plan. I think they were just like it's like South Park where they're always like rabble, rabble, rabble. And they were just, I don't know. And
also, you know, what's crazy is something like in relation to this, I'm happy to see. And I really mean this. If Antifa or BLM or somebody, like if BLM like didn't target like private businesses and were like instead like these public officials that are doing these rules, bro, I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I support it, but that sounds more better.
Yeah.
Like whoever did that, like I'm more like, whatever, if you got your reasons, just leave me alone. Leave me out of it. Saying that, something I'm happy to hear. I'm with you that I don't trust the guy, but it is nice to hear what Trump is, of course, like the leading candidate in 2024 for the Republicans. But who's number two at this point? Is it still DeSantis?
I think it's still DeSantis.
Okay, but I know Vivek.
But it's like way down, and then the race between second, third, and fourth is kind of closer. But I think because Trump has such a large.
And I don't trust Vivek. Like you, he's a politician. Like I don't, yeah, exactly. I don't know any of these people, and if like, but something I'm very excited to hear about is like he is continuing to push this message that seems to be popular.
See, that's what always startles me when somebody comes out of nowhere with their finger directly on the pulse of what the people are wanting to hear and saying that stuff. That actually terrifies me.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong.
I feel like there should be some stuff where I'm like, no, I don't agree with you there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, dude, if you listen to Barack Obama, like nowadays, if you listen to Barack Obama's campaign speeches, it's like, I'm going to end all these wars and bring all the troops home, and then like it all.
Yeah, I didn't like him. I don't like him now.
I know. I didn't like him for stupid reasons back then.
Yeah, and he was
now I have smart reasons.
And he was full of crap.
Yeah, like they all are.
Yeah,
equally.
so I said I don't trust any of them.
But we went down a right rabbit hole, but it kind of left me off track a little bit.
Talking about Vivek and
the message that he is putting that's like spreading out that I'm seeing get popular. He's like, you know, he keeps replaying the FBI testimony of where they're asked like, was there any undercover agents in the January 6th crowd? And the FBI says, like the director says, I can't comment on that. And it's like, well, the answer is either no or yes.
Also, they got him on film saying that there's bracelets or something they had identifiers on. I think it's bracelets or something they were wearing. They're actually, the cops are actually putting them on or passing them out on like one of the cameras.
Like there's that. There's also something I keep hearing him push forward is the Governor Whitmer of Michigan kidnapping case. Like I've heard him bring this up like twice where you know what I'm talking about, right?
I think we talked about this.
We've mentioned it.
Did he fake a kidnapping or
Vivek Ramaswamy did not.
no? The governor did.
What practically happened was, like, as I'll just say the story as it became reported was, there was a group of 5. I think it's like 5 or 6 people that were going to kidnap Governor Gretchen.
But almost all the
Michigan.
people in it were feds.
Well, 2 of them were like these people went to court for attempting to kidnap the governor.
We studied this in my law
Did
class,
y'all?
talking about for entrapment.
Entrapment.
Yeah.
And like, dude, 2 of the people, like of the 6, were like not FBI agents of some sort, like not informants.
And, like, one of them wanted out. One of them called the FBI agent dumb, and then they found out most of them were from. It was all
literally, it was the FBI like going up to these people and going like, "Hey, aren't you angry at the system?
Yeah,
ain't it a good idea to kidnap?" And the guy's like, "I don't know if I. No, you should." Like they're talking them into it.
Yeah, because we discussed it from the point of view that the government kind of took away the free will, or like had it not been for the government, they wouldn't have done it or been there in the first.
The
place.
idea would have never been planted in there.
So it's crazy.
But Vivek Ramaswamy has brought that up multiple times. And listen, I'm not saying like if this guy gets elected, I have any faith in him like doing anything. He sounds like he actually has plans to do something about it. I don't think he's trying to get elected. If you want to know the truth,
I think he knows he can't win
against Trump.
I think
he's talking nice about Trump.
I think you've got.
He's pleasing the Trump supporters.
And then next year or the next election term, which is what I've said. It's all DeSantis had to have done. DeSantis could literally have just sat back, given like a couple thumbs up, worn his little boots, and next term,
them damn boots, dude.
And he could have duck walked into the White House, but instead he's opened just a big pile of.
Whoever was the first person to put a side-by-side meme of him and Homelander from The Boys, I was like, oh, dude, that's a political career killer right there. Like, that fits too hard.
And then the boots. With that in the boots.
You know, I was talking to this progressive person. You know something that still irks me really bad? And I believe he did 99% things during like the COVID, I'll say 90%. I was like, thank God he did these things.
Right.
But dude, I remember one thing that came from my side, and I was talking to a progressive friend about this not that long ago. And they said, well, Florida did like fake the numbers at one point of like they were caught, like the woman that whistle blew on it was like prosecuted for some NDA or something she signed with the.
But weren't they like trying to inflate the numbers to make it seem like we had more cases?
I believe it was the other way around in like a 3-county area. And like, I don't know how I kind of got on the side tangent, but I remember like hearing about that and I was like, damn you, whoever did this. Because even though you're trying to stack the odds like in my argument's favor, like damn you for giving the other side.
Yeah, I was stuck in Illinois for part of it during for work and flying.
Land of Lincoln.
Dude, it was terrible. Like you couldn't go anywhere, do anything. Like outdoor swimming pools were closed.
Yeah.
Like it was like the most. And then I came back here and it was like, oh, freedom.
Yeah. And man, we're going down some rabbit holes hard. We were going to start out talking about farming things. I swear that was the start. And I don't know, someone mentioned January 6th, and here we are. Back to COVID.
Just rolls off the tongue.
It got the COVID was wild, and and here's the thing.
Have we just forgotten about all the crap they did to people over that? Like, are we just going to let that go?
You know, here's why I think the media, and I used to not believe this, Michael Malice convinced me of this. As bad as the government is, and as bad as these giant corporations are, which the right typically agrees how bad the government is, the left typically agrees how bad the corporations are. Typically, I don't know, it's swapped in the past 8 years, kind of. Anyways, the media is worse. Well,
just because the media has become part of it, I believe, anymore.
It's pretty much become the propaganda wing. But, he pointed out.
It's just PR for the corporations.
He said the media has the power out of, more than the military, more than of, actually, keeping this beast in check. He's like, right. Yeah, the military has all the guns. He goes, but the media, the newspapers, they were called back in the day, has the minds. And like the idea was like, hey, this free press is always going to be suspicious of this thing and be able to report on everything. But then Thomas Jefferson starts arresting people for sedition acts, so it all goes out the window pretty freaking quickly.
I'm super glad of the technology and being able to have just information at my fingertips. But I do remember being younger. You remember like just getting a newspaper?
Yeah.
I genuinely enjoyed getting a newspaper and the funnies on Sundays. That was good times at Grandma's.
Yeah, but it was there's trade-offs. There's great things about it and things I like.
Yeah, because it all happened yesterday.
I like the funnies. Where the hell are we going with that rabbit hole?
The media is.
Oh no, dude, it's by far the worst. Because like what I was getting at, I believe they paint us into corners. Like here's a great example. I'm gonna go by the establishment's narrative. Let me steelman them. Let me assume everything National Institute of Health and Fauci and all of them said was absolutely true. I'm gonna give them that. Okay. Where did this virus come from?
China.
Okay, you're close. More specifically.
Wuhan.
More specifically than that.
U.S. funded bioweapons lab.
U.S. funded and U.S. controlled NIH, I believe National Institute of Health, it's either that or an FDA. What did they do at this facility?
Ruin lives.
Well, yes. But what did they specialize at that facility?
Biological warfare?
What do they call it? Obama reauthorized it, which like I think they'd been secretly doing. It's where you test diseases to see the potential of them against humans, and then they create cures for it. Specific. There's a technical name for it. I can't quite remember. Anyways, let's call it strength testing, just because I can't remember the damn name of it. But anyways, so let's take the media the corporate media at its given. That this was the worst thing since the Spanish flu, like physically, like literally on every level. And all of the lockdowns.
Yeah, I couldn't taste food for like a week.
Yeah, all of the lockdown. Let's take it one step further. Every lockdown, every mask mandate was completely warranted. Let's say like it all worked. It's all right. You know, I notice on even the skeptical conservative side, this question is never brought up. And this is like assuming what the progressives are saying is true about it. If the National Institute of Health or the FDA or the U.S. government-controlled lab is responsible for releasing the deadliest virus since the Spanish flu that decimated our economy and killed millions directly and indirectly, and we're not having trials for the person that accidentally messed up, or the person in charge of that guy that was it. But like the media makes it a point that these questions are never even considered.
Yeah,
you know that they debate over.
We should make Nuremberg look like child's play.
Yeah, you know, it's like when the Syrian gas attacks happened. Like the MSNBC point of view was like, how much should we bomb, should we bomb Syria a lot or a little? And the Fox News point of view was, should we bomb Syria a lot or a shitload metric ton and wipe them off the earth? And it's like,
I mean, if you're going to bomb.
If you're gonna, I mean, if you're
I'm
gonna.
not saying you should, but if you do,
if you are,
you go all the way.
But like, what I'm getting at is like the options like never brought up of like, maybe we shouldn't be spending our money over here at all.
Yeah.
And to hell with these people. God, if you make it to the United States and you're able to immigrate the
I was
not
really
shitty
thinking
way.
that before you got over here. I was like, we just gonna forget that happened? Like, it came from like this whole like paper trail back to it, and everybody's just like, oh well, we just gotta live with it now. Maybe bring out masks again.
And don't get me wrong,
no.
I hear the right wingers say it came from a Wuhan, China lab, and I'm like, but like, what money was paying for the lab? Ours.
Yeah.
It's our place over. It's our vacation home over there. It came from.
Well, we all got $1,500 back.
We did.
For the remember the stimulus or whatever they sent.
I didn't get none of that money.
You had to if you had a social security number.
No, I didn't know I did.
I'm pretty sure it was direct deposited if you had it. Like
but
installments.
There's so many questions.
We also got a crap load of inflation from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, here we're going to give like everybody a little bit of money and then throw billions to other things too.
So to hell with farming. I guess we're just doing nothing but like this kind of talk the rest of the night. Welcome
Oh,
everybody.
we're farming ideas.
Yeah, sadly. I tell you, the more I listen, and he's the new Elon Musk. We need to make a jar about him, Javier Milei. The more I listen to this Venezuelan son of Argentina.
Argentinian.
Yeah, Argentina. I was getting them two mixed. It's kind of like, oh no, it's not America.
There's nothing you could have said.
I knew. I stopped myself right there.
I was about to make a comparison too that would not have gone so well.
No. But dude, what the other day, like 2024 is starting off so spectacularly to me. Like I said, I'm not the biggest. Like I don't hate Trump. I shouldn't say that. I don't like Trump, but I hate the media coverage of him much more. But like,
I love how much he's hated. That's just.
What's the latest on him being pulled off the ballot in Colorado? What, the state Supreme Court has okayed it, or it's just been brought to their attention?
I think that finally got dropped or whatever, but Maine is making a big deal out of it. And the last I heard is that the Supreme Court has decided to take up the case on whether he can be left off the ballot or not in some states.
Hot take. I think the best thing that could happen for the country
is they don't let it.
Is they take Trump off the ballot, and maybe one or two other states do it too.
Because it would just end in chaos.
Maybe not bad chaos. Maybe some like good for once. Maybe, I mean, that's a stupid thought, ain't it? That something nice happens, but I mean, we can hope. There are nice things that happen. They just go relatively unnoticed. But
that would be wild. Because I know the last time a president was left off the ballot, it ended so well.
It's odd. It was the different group of. It was like the sides swapped.
Yeah.
But that happens. But yeah, if they took him off, and you know what would be like, I don't think you like really. It's hard to win without Colorado. I know that. Isn't that a big swing state?
Oh, maybe. I mean, it's not like.
I think for a Midwestern state, it's pretty big. I think.
I don't know how many delegates they've got, or Maine, or is it Maine, or maybe it's Ohio. You can't win without Ohio. Is one of them. I can tell you 1 second. I'll pull up the Electoral College.
And you know, here's the beautiful thing: is a lot of people. I think I've kind of echoed this before. A lot of people I've grown up around listening to, they've always had the mentality of like, if only we could go back to when I was a kid, when things was right and wrong and da-da-da, and it's like, things were corrupt back then too. You just didn't know any better. And also, like, most people didn't. But now we got those handy-dandy devices that Mr. Mercer's Googling on right now.
Yeah, Colorado's only got 10 electoral votes.
Okay, maybe I was being stupid
so
about that.
It's not like a major one, but I mean, it's still a chunk compared to, like, Nebraska that's beside it has 4.
Yeah.
Maine's got 4. So theoretically, you could win without Colorado and...
You just have to do some honky talking.
Yep.
Which I think if anybody's capable of doing, it might be Trump. But, like, now we're all catching on. And I think, like, I've said something similar to this before. But, like, literally, the government is an imaginary construct. And I mean, technically, like, so are some things I really believe in, like property and like property lines. Things I believe in, like, I don't know, morals and ethics. They're all imagined. But, like, government is, like, one of the few that, I mean, I've never thought of something more as like a magical spell or something like that. Like how should I put it? You know, I really like studying different religions, like different theologies. When I say studying, I like reading interesting facts about them. I don't ever sit down and like read the Quran or anything like that, like the whole thing or studies on it. But I like pulling stuff out. But you know, all those religions, they know they're religions.
Yeah.
They're like, we know we're believing in something greater than ourselves that we can't comprehend, and I'll die for it, but I know it's like this ethereal thing.
It's like why...
With the faith in government, and not just government, but like these high institutions that...
I was thinking like in like monarchies and stuff, that these peasants were then just like completely ruled over. I'm like, but you had to have made the king in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, at some point... y'all are all equal, and you're like, hey, we're just going to put one guy on a pedestal, and, like, What the hell? Why would you think that was a good idea?
Well, one of my favorite lessons from the Bible, it's in the Old Testament. I can't remember the quote in Scripture, but exactly. But it's something along the lines of like, the Jews have come out of Egypt and they've made it to the land of milk and honey. This is a positive thing for the I think it's cool. It's an awesome lesson to learn. And they get and they're like wherever they are, like they've traveled out of Babylon or Syria or someplace. I don't know exactly.
They're leaving Egypt.
I know, but like they've also like
then they were lost.
Yeah, then they're lost, and it's like they're settling down. I think like Joshua was the last cool dude, but he's like the last ruler of them or whatever.
The land of milk and honey.
But they go like the Israelites are like, hey, God, like all these other great empires and civilizations have kings. We need a king. And God's like, no, you don't. You got me. You got each other. That's all you need. And they're like, nah, give us a king. He's like, all right, Solomon. I warned you. He's going to go crazy. But like, it is this, I don't know, like there's this reverence for these establishments, like the FBI, like, you know, a lot of the boomers will know that J. Edgar Hoover, you know, had all this dirt on people and like was a very flawed human in a lot of ways and power hungry, but they're like still like, and I'm thinking,
didn't he wear dresses?
Oh yeah, he's a cross-dress.
Yeah.
And dude, here's the thing: do whatever you want behind closed doors. Fly your freak flag. Don't arrest other people for flying their freak flag. That's a douche move.
Don't take out your insecurities on other people that are brave enough to do it.
And that's the guy that created or ran this established, credentialed establishment. That's stupid. But like
unconstitutional.
Like extremely. And there's even, I can't remember which Federalist paper it is, but I think it's between, who's the ones that always debated each other, Jefferson and Hamilton?
Yeah, pretty sure.
And it's like one of them, like I think it's Jefferson, like he's a hypocrite.
They're the ones that didn't like want to feud related and talk for a super long time.
They both died on July 4th and all this other romantic stuff that I'm not sure is 100% true. But we're not sure any of it's 100% true. But regardless, he said like something along the lines in this, because you know the Federalist Papers, like you got the Constitution. But then, like, the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers are like, here's our reasoning behind all this.
Well, it's because they're trying to make sure the other states would, like, join, right? It was it's like, hey, here's our reasoning why.
Because Tom...
We're trying to explain what we wrote.
Tom Woods does such a great breakdown of this. He goes, like, we're taught in, like, elementary school. And, like, it's kind of... We take it as a given and we're conditioned in certain ways. He goes, when they talk about, like, in 1776, we declared independence from Britain. Am I right? And then let's like 1780, we actually have like the Constitution, and it's like everybody in America. It's like some like the founding fathers go, here it is, and everybody in America goes, absolutely. And he goes, no. Like they spent like
we were a confederacy, and then
they spent like weeks. Like closed doors, no press debating, and it's like their debates are recorded as the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers. It's like here's a big debate why we have the Second Amendment and the First and all this, where the federal government can't do anything with this stuff. State governments, you want to kill people for being Quakers? Have at it. It's weird, but anyways, the question is brought up, like, hey, shouldn't we have like a federal organized department of education, like that, you know, kind of looks over all the country and educates it for the better good? I think it's Jefferson goes, that's as insane of an idea as there being a federal police force. And it's like, oh, like the FBI, like
or the CIA.
Yeah, and it's like I said, that's why I like religions. It's like we know that is, but it's like, you know.
Yeah, I was double. Wasn't it the Jimmy Carter made the Department of Education? Because before that, it didn't exist, right?
And so, no, dude. I think it was like from the 90s. The federal Department of
Jimmy Carter signed into law, 1979, the United States Department of Education, which is like basically the 80s.
And since then, funding has gone up, administration has grown, and test scores have crashed.
Yeah,
and the system is hemorrhaging. And you know, I was talking to my mom, and it's like. That's funny because we're like country bumpkins to a degree, but she was a geography teacher, 7th grade, for like 20 years before she really started doing cattle full time. And she was like her second year. Another teacher came up to her and was like, "Hey, you need to join the teachers union." And my mom was like, oh, like, not political at all by any means at the time. She goes, oh, like what? Like, well, we get like better pay. And like, she goes, well, no, they can't fire you for like any reason whatsoever. My mom's like, what?
Well, it's great, but terrible at the same time.
Yeah, and there were terrible teachers. And dude, this was something I looked up. This was a tweet. This was one of those threads I was going through. And it said, hey, do these two things. And I'll let the listeners at home do this. Google, and I know the Catholic Church is probably like hiding stuff. So like there is some like skewed stuff there. But it's like look up abuse by Catholic priests and like look at the rate of it. And then look up abuse by public officials or like school. And it's like, whoa.
Aw.
Now, there's other factors in there, like, I don't know, is it a fight and they're breaking it up and the counselor throws a haymaker on some 17-year-old asking for it?
And I'll allow that. All day. All day. Some smart mouth teen just right in the kisser.
If you're being
But I'm not doing it. Because I'm not getting sued over it.
You know what? If someone's being a threat to other people, you have the right to put that person down.
Yeah.
Not kill them, but like at least
No, it's
something comparable to the threat.
Force meets force.
Yeah,
You have to meet the force with an equal force.
Within reason.
You can't escalate it.
And within reason's a tricky thing.
Like you can't punt a kindergartner.
I mean, you can.
Well, yes.
Physically.
But that's not within
it's
reason.
Possible. Kindergartners are kind of big. That hurts your foot.
How many do you think you could take?
Kindergartners?
Yeah. Like, not one at a time. Like, they bum rush you.
They bum rush me. I'm barehanded, they're barehanded.
You're barehanded. You are allowed to use one as a weapon. I'll allow that.
Are we in an open field?
Yeah, like a playground.
Oh, like a playground. Like there's like...
Like, you could, like, take them and, like, swing the swing and...
I'm getting dark with it. I don't need to go down that road. I'm going to be conservative in my estimate and say a solid 30.
Really? I was going to like 15 to 20.
I think 30.
Really? I think I could hold my own until like after...
I'll tell you what. Let's make it better and more ethical. How many cats? Cats that have rabies and are trying to kill you.
Well, okay, if you don't have a vaccine and one just scratches you, you're a dead man anyways.
Yep.
So theoretically it would be one.
But whatever. They're trying to kill you.
Cats?
Cats.
I take way more cats than kindergartners.
You sure?
Yeah, like they're gonna be angry and pissed off, but I can fling a cat a lot easier.
Can you grab a cat to fling it?
I feel like yes.
Dude,
I feel like it's a more painful way to die, but I can take more with me as I go.
It's a much more painful. If you had to choose, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs, yeah.
They're at least gonna like end me.
They're gonna rip me limb from limb at least, not skin me alive.
Like I would rather hear like children screaming than cats screaming.
I gotta get a 22.
No, you can't say that in the same sentence. Hypothetical.
In Minecraft. But yeah, see, 20 cats, I could take a less because I think cats would be so overpowering if they're on full freak out mode. Yeah, if they're on full freak out mode.
I feel like you just like keep just like grabbing them and like.
But by the time you're grabbing one, 5 more are on you.
Yeah, but
they're much faster than kindergartners.
Yeah, but 5 cats isn't going to knock me over. 5 kindergartners is.
They're gonna claw your eyeballs out.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not living like they're like in this scenario. They're just going to keep coming until you're overpowered.
You keep going back to the kindergartners. I'm trying to stray away from that hot pepper.
No, I'm just saying in general. Well, I don't know. Some people like animals more than kids now, anyways. So
that's a solid point. Dude,
like, there's a whole documentary. You don't F with cats.
I never saw it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, you don't mess with cats.
You don't mess with cats. Yeah,
this is all hypothetical, people.
Yes,
we're animal
This
lovers.
is a show for entertainment purposes only. Any coincidence with real life is...
We have and love animals, and we have nieces and nephews and children.
Put in the slide the South Park disclaimer of just that, whatever it says at the beginning of that.
Well, no, people have always talked about that hypothetical on the internet.
Like, hang on, I didn't even ask like the typical show opener. What the hell did you do over your break? You've been on break. You haven't been lawyering. You've been crypto mining.
Yeah, I figured out how to build a computer.
He did that. I'm next to it. It's got rainbow colors on it. Very pride.
Well, it's a showpiece.
It's nice to know that you're an ally of the LGBTQ 2+A.
Wasn't what I was going
community.
for, but that's the only color of the fans.
You naturally fit it.
I'll allow
They
it.
saw you walk in and they're like,
I've
this
made
one.
I've made $19 in like 10 days.
Cold coffee cheers.
Yeah.
Good for that. I haven't made that.
I'm way under that because it cost me like $400 or $500 to build it, but it is. I can at least say I know how to build and program a computer now.
Blueberries are coming along.
Yep. Surprisingly sooner than I expected because now I'm scared it's going to like cold and freeze, and then it'll hurt them. But
one awesome thing we did while that me and you did over the break was go out in the woods, try to shoot some hogs, but didn't see any hogs. So
murdered some water bottles.
Murdered some water bottles and sausage. Phrasing.
I can't edit like this episode. I'm just gonna let it ride.
Phrasing.
We grilled.
We grilled. Me, Mark, and my son, or me, Merce, and my son. Merce and Mark I've mixed up so many times, but no, it was a fun time. I killed a lot of water bottles. But I got to thinking while we were riding around doing things that our forefathers did with us in the truck. What was like it was cool to do it with my son, and we were having a like good safe time out riding around the ranch. What is a dumb memory you have of growing up riding around shooting? Like doing this otherworldly tradition of our kind.
You mean like one that involved us, or one involved like with my fathers, or
either or?
I can remember being young out on that big ranch that used to be out east of town called Bright Hour.
Okay.
With my dad and like I call him uncle, but he's like a distant cousin.
Right.
He's like my dad's cousin, Uncle Ronnie, and we were riding around. And for some reason, Uncle Ronnie thought he could drive his truck through basically a pond. He did not make it across the pond. The truck started floating away, with the dog still in the dog box, and the dogs in the trailer. So they're trying to swim out to get the dogs. Looking back, I got older and looking back, I'm like, I think they were drunk.
No, never. They would never. Listen, it's very irresponsible.
I can remember being like young. My dad wouldn't go through it. I remember being young on the bank and just seeing this truck floating.
Listen, it'd be highly irresponsible to drink around firearms or children, and by golly, our fathers and forefathers never would do such a thing.
No.
And this show does not condone that in any way whatsoever. I said some things I couldn't say, and y'all will never hear it. Anyways, diverting back, like we've done some loops. With 2024, there's been some, like, besides, like, let's take the Trump ballot thing out of it. Wasn't that Epstein list a nice little present that it gave us?
I want there to be more, like, stuff happening.
Well,
like, why aren't there, like torches and pitchforks?
Because the people that hold the power are unaccountable. They don't answer to anybody. And, you know, it's funny.
Hawking's dead.
One of the
We
best.
can at least put his computer in prison.
Yeah, jail that son of a bitch.
Put a life sentence for a speaking spell.
Dude, one of the better threads I read on it was Dershowitz, which you don't know who this guy is, do you? He was a guy that I grew up seeing on Fox News. Keep that in mind, people. And he was like their legal analyst of like, well, here's the international law and the reasons as to why we can send troops into Syria or Afghanistan or pick a place in the past 30 years. And like, he was like, here's our rationale and legal theory as to why we can do it. Now, there was accusations about him and Epstein, like when Epstein first broke out, and you can look it up on Twitter or X or whatever it is. And a reporter pops it on Dershowitz, and he didn't know it was coming. And she goes, "Can you comment on your relations with Jeffrey Epstein?" And he goes, "Listen, I took my family to his island once when he wasn't there, and that was the end of it. And I have been like blackballed for this. And this is if I'd have known any of this, I'd have never da-da-da. And shame on you for like bringing this up to me." And she's like, "Well, we notified your handler that we were doing this, but whatever." So I don't know. But anyways, that's beside the point. It's come out in what, like the Epstein leak, correct me if I'm wrong, Mercer, but it's mostly like firsthand accounts of eyewitnesses to
Yeah, it's basically like from like interrogations and then like
Sworn testimonies.
yeah, them like asking direct questions to former witnesses, to Epstein, to
Like in official court documents,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
I don't know
about-
the technical names for this stuff, but
yeah, basically like it's a discovery.
Yeah.
but that's basically what they're doing from like for the investigation, where it's all under oaths, like sworn testimony.
and I read where like they were more on Dershowitz, but like it was funny because like now that this has come out and like the testimony is like, oh, he was with like dozens of underage girls there all the time and da 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 da, and that and like further into the rabbit hole in the interview, the woman interviewer, she brings up, she goes, are you aware that it's been raised that Jeffrey Epstein might have been an agent of Mossad or Israel, like that's Israel's like spy agency? And Dershowitz goes, listen, the only time Epstein was ever there was the one time he met me in Israel, and he'd never been to Israel before and knew nothing of the place, and that government would have like nothing to do with Epstein because he's not like in with them. Newspaper article following the interview is like it's weird. It's from the Palm Beach Post. And West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the article is like, hey, here's what the local Palm Beach celebrities have been to. Like the one of the articles was like one of the Kraft brothers or one of the Kraft like cheese family.
Oh,
like,
I was picturing
like went on a yacht.
The guys that did like the animal show when we were kids, the Kraft brothers.
I remember.
They had the monkey.
Yeah, that's
Zaboomafu.
That's rubbing an old memory. But it was like hey, here's what the local celebrities are doing this past month, and it's like it names like 3 other people, and it goes local financial mogul at Jeffrey Epstein just got back from his trip to Israel where they gave him tours of military bases, and they
I did see a thing where we're talking about the list, like where they've cross-referenced, and I think it's like the CIA, Israel, or like Mossad, and like one other agency, or like the Vatican or something. It's like it's always like the ones like the most like highly mentioned.
It's like all the conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
But
I think the Vatican might not be there's 3 of them, but I can't remember what the other one was. And you're just like, oh, okay, cool.
I want to like really stress one thing about all this though. And like I kind of came to this revelation like the other night. I mean, I've always thought this, but like I solidified it. You still have to question if the information we are finding out that confirms our biases, are we being played?
The information that they sat on for years.
Not only that they sat on for years, but like one, all right, giant question I have. What, was there like 150 names that still haven't been released because they're worried for reasons?
And then they dropped more. And then I think
do you remember their reasoning behind it?
Supposedly for like national security and for like their own fear and stuff like that. So that's they're speculating that was Hillary Clinton. Then I saw
that's speculation.
Then I saw that Hillary Clinton's name has been now confirmed in the documents, but I don't know if she's still or who all or what all's gone through, because it's not like it's just like here's a list and like here's the paper. It's like hundreds and thousands.
It doesn't need to be mentioned, but Bill Clinton's mentioned like quite a bit.
Yeah, well, there's it's like hundreds of thousands or like thousands of pages, and you've got to read it in context. So just because you can pull somebody's name out of it, because like some of the lists you see, just because their names are there doesn't mean they've actually done anything bad. It's in some situations it's them asking the witnesses about this person, and in a few cases they're like denied or they don't have any information. But in a lot of them, it's bad. It's midgets and.
Well, I was saving that for last. On a little bit of a lighter note, physically lighter, they weigh less. So Stephen Hawking is on the list. And for those of you that don't remember some awesome 90s cartoons where he would oddly, like, cameo in them.
Which actually makes more sense now.
Oh, hell, yeah, it does. But Stephen Hawking was, like, the brilliant guy in a wheelchair who has one of my favorite quotes, like, ever about turtles all the way down.
Oh.
Do you know the...
Yeah, it's turtles all the way down. Like, it's the infamous...
It's supposedly,
realities.
I think it comes from Stephen Hawking. Like, side note, I'm going to give this weird son of a bitch a compliment real quick, so excuse me.
Oh, he was a genius. I'm not saying he wasn't a pervert.
He
but
said
now,
he said he was attending like a conference where like this genius physicist was on stage, like, and it was like a free for like anybody could come in and watch it. And the physicist on stage is like, "This is how the Big Bang happened, and da 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 da, millions of neutrons and electrons and blah 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 blah, blah," a whole lot of fancy science talk for like hours. And at the end, there's a Q&A, and this like unshoveled looking lady with her hair all frizzy and like looks homeless raises her hand and goes like, "That's all nice, Mr. Scientist Man, but something you failed to realize is that this whole world and reality is on the back of a giant turtle." And he goes, like playing along with her, he goes, "All right, what's the giant turtle on top of?" And she goes, "Another turtle." And he goes, "What's that on top of?" She goes, "No, you idiot. It's turtles all the way down." And like she's correcting. And Stephen Hawking, and like this is one of them things that cracked my brain. He goes, "In the grand scheme of things, that woman has just as much of a chance being right as that physicist on stage, because we're prone to human error and stuff like that."
We also believe in like infinite realities and string theory and things like that. Was a lot of his is like theory based.
Yeah, and a lot of
like
physics,
black holes. Stuff.
I don't like believing in infinite realities. I used to until I really gave it a lot of thought, and I don't, because if it's like every thought you could ever imagine is reality, and I've heard that, I'm like, there are humans that think awful thoughts. I'd hope that there's
been awful things that have happened in history.
Yeah, but
I mean, some really bad people got their wishes.
True. Anyways, back to midgets. So Stephen Hawking was a frequent visitor. I guess he used the handy-capable rails of Epstein Island. And I guess what his thing was, according to the sworn testimony, was...
If it's not been doctored.
Which, like, by the way, who was picking up these people? And anyways, what his thing was getting midgets naked in front of a whiteboard or a chalkboard and having equations above their head that they couldn't read. That was too high, and them attempting to like jump up and write on it and finish the equation while they were naked.
Do math.
This stirs so many questions. Let's get the obvious out of the way. How paralyzed is Stephen Hawking? That's the one everybody's like.
Appendage still work. Like pump him full of enough Viagra. Like
I don't even. But you know what, dude? Like I really wonder what these people at this, and this is like totally me speculating. This is me grabbing at straws, because I don't know how much of this stuff is to mess with me. Like literally, how much of the stuff like we believe is going on with government? Like I'm thinking about ways. How much of that is misinformation meant?
He's dead. We can make him look like the worst one.
Yeah, that or like there's a lot of ways it could be played. But like, all right, so
I mean, it's not good. I don't know. It's
no, but it could just. But what I'm getting at is, I think a large part of it could be like, I think at some point, whenever you can like you're that powerful and you can kind of have sex with whoever you want. I think sex loses its appeal and it's more of like a power thing, if I'm guessing.
Well, when you can't walk either.
Well, like even that, like I think a lot of them, like it's like power, like fantasies and stuff. But like with him, it might not be sexual. It might be like I'm on one hand. All right, come on. It's kind of funny.
I'm not.
It's midgets. All right.
Did it say the midgets were underage, or did he just have?
I don't think it elaborate. And like, here's my thing. Are they midgets being held against their will? Is there
like the door?
How do you find these midgets?
Like the door to get out is just a little too high.
Is there a special coyote kidnapper? They must be the easiest to kidnap.
I was gonna say, you wouldn't need a very big bag.
Do you put out a Craigslist ad of like, if you're short in stature, come give us a holler? We have a wonderful opportunity for you.
If you can't ride the roller coaster, call me.
Is it pygmies?
This episode is so...
A lot of titles to choose from. Should have heard the stuff we censored. Actually, it wasn't that bad. Just can't say it. Stephen Hawking, he'll be remembered for a lot of things, and
but not what he wanted to be remembered for.
No, but like you said, like that's one of the more notable names, and it's like, Yeah, he's the guy that's dead that we can't. No one will ever, you know.
I didn't do it.
Listen, like with my crazy ass philosophy of quasi anarcho banditism, like I understand there's a lot of like crazy concerns and questions about how that would work. And I'm no central planner. I'm no genius of reality. I really don't know. But it's like a lot of the arguments I hear against this, again, like kind of coming from Michael Malice, it just kind of describes the status quo as it is right now. It's like the one of the bigger arguments I hear is like, well, you know, like warlords would just take over that would be unanswerable to anybody and would just like kill off whoever didn't agree with them. And I'm like, you're talking about the federal government. It's like, they don't answer to anybody. And
they just wear suits now.
They can spread the deadliest disease. Let's say it's by accident. The deadliest disease the world's ever seen, and like no one so much as gets fired.
Well, they don't kill anybody anymore. You just commit suicide.
Did that too. But like they could invade any country they choose that doesn't agree with them, and it's just like, yeah.
Apparently, don't need a declaration of war anymore.
This would be like if a gang took over. Like the income tax, they just come up to you and say, "Give us 20%,"
or we take everything you have.
Yeah, and you guess it, and y'all know that one. But it on top of everything else, earlier this week, on top of Epstein Island and all that, Mercer tags me in something on Twitter, and I give it a look. And I had scrolled by a video that showed all these police cars going in action to Miami, to a juvenile case. You know, it made me like cock an eyebrow as I swiped by in the timeline, but I didn't give it much attention. But then Merce tagged me in it, and I looked a little harder. And what I saw was, I'll just describe the video. It's someone from their apartment building in Bayside, Miami. Where is the Bayside Center in Miami? Just outside of that, the residential complex in Florida, Miami, Florida. And it's for what police call a juvenile delinquent situation, like juvenile violence, like some gang activity. But Mercer, what? There's like over 50 police cars, would you say?
I would say basically every cop that was on duty.
It looks like an army of cops swarming this place. And that's like, you know, it's like kind of at sunset, and it's a bunch of cops, like you're looking from like the 20th floor, and you're seeing like 50 cop cars. Maybe 20 to 40. I don't know the numbers. A lot.
Helicopters.
They fill up the screen from the 20th floor, swarming this place, and people running away from the place, like screaming and running. That's like the best audio and video you get. Now, what is accompanying it? I'm going to describe it best as ghetto black people. With their own videos, their own like TikToks, going, "Hey, I was there," and it's not juvenile delinquents; it is giant shadow monsters that all the cops were responding to, and then there was like CIA and other people there, like stuff.
I saw they're describing them as creatures.
Yeah, that were phasing in and out of reality and stuff. And all right,
good drugs.
Or what I would all right. So I got like three possibilities, okay? The first one, and my most desired and favorite, is that there are shadow beings coming into this reality for another one, and there's some MIB replying.
You saw one, right?
I want to shut up. Yeah, me and my mom got talked about that, and that's I had a strong imagination at 3 years old, and I vividly remember seeing a shadow monster run up from under my porch across the pasture and look at me and run into the woods. And haven't seen nothing like it since. But I remember it. And I'm chalking that up to overactive 3-year-old imagination. Or perhaps children are more perceptive to other realities. We'll never know. Anyways, so Bayside, Miami. Possibility number 1, shadow beings are real. My favorite, also most unlikely. Possibility number 2, drugs. Here's the thing. All right. The first guy I saw describe it. It's all ghetto black people. Like, I shouldn't say ghetto. All like hood black people like describing it. The first one I see, I go, haha, that's funny. The second one I see is like another one kind of describing it. Like the same thing.
It's like when they saw the leprechaun.
Okay, hear me out. I don't think it's drugs because people don't tend to have the exact same hallucinations on any kind of trip. However, I thought of that Tosh.0 episode, and thank you, Merce, for skipping ahead. Where Merce, describe the leprechaun situation. What
Got
was
look like a crackhead up in a tree.
What it was
got
like?
hold of the wrong stuff.
Was it in Mississippi or Alabama? Dude, it was some southern black town.
Guy came in with a
My
a
great
flute.
great grandpappy was Irish.
He brought a leprechaun flute.
He was a leprechaun charmer. And like, here's the thing. Here's like with that. All right, I think this is the same direction. And if this is what it is, it makes me love black people as a group even more. Because it's like, I think one of them's like, that thing looks like a leprechaun. And it's like, hang on a second. You know what would be a great way to fuck with white people? Let's make them all believe that we saw a leprechaun. let's tell them I got a and like, dude, I think
they've been playing a long con.
Like,
this
dude,
whole
I think it's
time.
just like, we're just gonna say some bullshit and see how many of you bandits jump at this and want this to be true so bad.
You
and I'm
idiots.
like, great play. Like,
You know what? Well played.
like,
Well played.
like, I love that. Did you ever see the? Dude, it was back in the Wild West of YouTube.
Or something really bad was going on. They're like, who did it? And none of them were snitching. They're like, aliens.
It wasn't Pookie. It was aliens. Dude, but it was back in the Wild West of YouTube, like back like kind of when we were just out of high school and YouTube was a fun place. Do you remember seeing, it was a white kid and he would dress like a zombie and he would have like another friend recording as he went in like different parts of like different neighborhoods and acted like he had like torn clothes and blood on him and he would act like an escaped zombie and most of the time like people would run shitless from him.
It sounds familiar, but I think, is there one time that they don't run from him?
Dude, no, it's like maybe they set this up and if it's fake, then it's like a brilliant fake that it took a lot of people to coordinate. But like I guess he set his camera up in the bushes and he's like walking up to a basketball court and there's like, I don't know, like 20 black dudes playing basketball. And he's walking up, he's like, and you see them like all like, oh shit. Like, you see him like all as a group run away. And you just like, if he enters from the left side of the screen, they all run to the right in the opposite direction. And you see him like chasing them as he exits the right side of the screen. And then you see him running back from the right side of the screen to the left, and as he exits screens, and you see a crowd of like 20 black people just like chasing him down. Like, I don't think you see it. Like I said, if it's fake, it took a lot of people coordinating, so bravo. But like you hear him laying on the ground, I was joking. I swear to God, this is all a joke.
They realized they severely outnumbered him.
Like a lot to a little. Man, YouTube was a magical place back. Like we grew up. I think we are so lucky. A friend said it not too long ago, like, you speak the same language, but you're from, like, another country and culture. And I'm like, absolutely.
Well, we grew up we can remember before the internet.
And we grew up hearing stories, like, of people we knew and talked to of, like, before modernization took effect in our rural town. And
I can remember being out in the woods, everybody had CB radios.
I remember that. I remember car phones. Before cell phones, like you plug them into your
like
car.
The bag phone.
Yep. And you know, it's going to be an interesting time coming up. And like I said,
because what we know now is going to be obsolete.
Eventually. The best we can do. Like one thing that gives me hope, like a lot of hope, I think back, and how should I put this? I don't have a lot of faith in any political party. Even if they espouse.
I don't have a lot of faith in humanity.
Yeah. But even the ones that espouse my views. But I like the ones that are closer to my views than others. But it makes me think about like the first, outside of like the anti-imperialist league of the 1800s with like Mark Twain and the industrialist, I can't remember his name. But outside of them, like one of the first meetings for like anti-centralized authority, pro-freedom in this country was like in the 50s or 60s. And it was with Ayn Rand. Maybe it was in the 70s. Ludwig von Mises, Murray Rothbard, and a couple of these other like kind of anarchistic thinkers. And there was like 8 people that showed up across the whole country. And they were like, well, this sucks. Like, what do we do? There's 8 of us. We'll write books and try to...
That's enough for like a basketball game.
Yeah, a shitty one. They're economists. They're not athletes. But now this idea, I think I brought it up like a year or two ago. it's a mind virus that is gaining steam. I mean, I have seen.
But I think the majority of they've come to the conclusion that the government's no longer there for your best interest at all. You're merely just a pawn to put money in their pockets.
Yep, the government and the giant corporations, and like it's this unholy mix of vying for power, cutting off competition, and but like I think so was the USSR, and to such a higher degree, and they just collapsed.
Well, they ran out of money. Right now, our debt is going parabolic, where it's literally making debt faster than we can pay it
But
down.
like, did that get rid of the Russian people?
No, they're still in a hurry.
No. And they're like made out of rocks now. Like they're made out of broken glass, cuss words, and rocks. And like
And vodka.
But like the people that come out the other end, like it's not only that, like don't get me wrong, like their currency crashed when the USSR crashed. But then like they climbed out of it and things are better now for, I don't know about now, they're at war. But like before all that, like for the average Russian, things were better than they were like under the USSR.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. Like you didn't have the, don't get me wrong, I'm sure Russia has its own form of like still the KGB or CIA or something like that, but it's not like
Yeah,
dude,
I still don't think they can just go around willy-nilly.
There's still stories of the USSR of like people that were married for 50 years, or no, about like a long time. And when the person died or whatever, the husband found out his wife was a KGB agent the entire time.
Whoa.
And like he never, but like not like she was reporting on him and the neighbors and like what their private
You
conversation.
can't trust them. You can't trust them, boys.
Not women, no. Gay's got it figured out.
Well, they actually did a study that I think gay men stay married like 75% of the time, but
There's less abuse.
Well, yeah, but
There's a lot less
abuse.
abuse.
And
Lesbians have higher abuse than that.
Yeah, higher abuse and extremely high divorce rates. So you kind of got to wonder, like, just read. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying the data speaks for itself.
I think we need to end the episode before we go any further. But anyway, I like y'all. Just nobody should have that kind of power. That's all I'm getting at. Anyways, guys, this has been fun. Mer's going back to law school. I'm going back to work. But we're going to do some more of this pretty soon.
I got another week off, so.
We're doing YouTube like shorts now, kind of, when I think I do something silly. Something on the ranch. Follow us on that. Bandit Radio Hour. Spotify.
Instagram, Facebook. Basically just Google us.
Twitter, Twatter. What's the matter? You kids stay safe.
We're here till we get banned.
Bandit. See ya.